All you have to do is... That's what I'm talking about. Bones rattling, big, loud, fast. Look at these people. Look at their eyes. They're all sparkling. They love this shit. They love blood. They love action. Not this talky, depressing, philosophical bullshit.
By this logic, Marvel is not cinema. But what the hell does that word even mean? By now, I'm sure you've all heard Martin Scorsese's argument stating that cinema is dying and being replaced by content, going as far to say that people consider a David Lean movie comparable to a cat video, or a Super Bowl commercial, or a superhero film, the Marvel film. I've seen a lot of amazing video essays that both simultaneously defend Scorsese and Marvel, but let's play devil's advocate together and say that Scorsese is wrong, and the superhero film is the purest form of cinema. I feel like a lot of people forget about this movie.
Wait! Who are you?
You know who I am.
I do?
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Before that, we had Batman, which contained a lot of practical effects. But how do we convince people that Peter Parker can actually swing through the buildings of New York City? Simply put, advancement. A tentpole of cinema seen as early as Metropolis. It took a team of creative special effects artists, set designers, mannequin designers, and stunt teams to create this. Are special effects artists not, as the name states, artist? So, if movies framed around action sequences are not art, then where does it leave this? We all know the story. A farmer goes off to defeat his father and save the galaxy from tyranny. The plot was always focused on getting these characters into these dazzling altercations. What no one expected was how the film's popularity would lead to a massive toy empire. A movie made not only to sell tickets, but merchandise. It got to the point where George Lucas resurrected Han Solo despite Harrison Ford's wishes, leaving him with a minuscule role in Episode 6. Star Wars is fun. It's exciting, it's inspirational, and people respond to that. It's what they want. George Lucas. A film that is memorable for its cinematography, characters, worlds, costumes, special effects, and action sequences. Seems familiar, right? I feel like Scorsese leaves the question, what is cinema, pretty open-ended. He states in reference to 8½, directed by Federico Fellini, not a piece of music, not a novel, not a poem, not a dance. It can only work as cinema. And this makes sense for Scorsese's films. All of his films include this larger-than-life world, whether it's a billionaire playboy, a gangster, or a character on the edge that isn't necessarily relatable to everyone, but what about those films that don't have those elements? Is that cinema? Let's take this argument and roll with it by looking at two films that don't exactly have all of these elements, but are still considered spectacular cinema. Lady Bird, directed by Greta Gerwig, and Knight of Cups, directed by Terrence Malick. And let's focus on what makes these films cinema. The story of a girl and the relationship with her mother. An extremely simple premise in a time and place that is really relatable. I want to focus on that. If I were to write out the entire story of Lady Bird in a book, you wouldn't really have a tough time picturing Sacramento in the early 2000s, an argument with a sibling, or a subpar high school musical, or seeing a girl broken up by what she thought was love.
I thought Miguel was gonna pick me up.
Well, I was just arriving from work and it was easier. Okay? Oh, it's okay.
There's something so real and visceral about this scene. I want to open up the discussion and claim that cinema is art. Art can be innovative, surreal, or even frightening, but what it can also be is a reminder of a simpler time. What makes this can of soup art? Or the age-old question, how does it make you feel? Now, for me, it is that warmth that comes with a can of soup, that moment of feeling so sick to my stomach where this is the only thing I could eat, and then feeling satisfied and finally being able to sleep afterward. I look at Lady Bird and films within the teenager genre as those cans of soup, where they're not exactly breaking the mold on surreal special effects or even cinematography for the matter, but rely on the memories of the viewer and taking them back to that place of being in high school, struggling to find love, or just finding their place in the universe by carefully crafted dialogue written by the director herself, word for word. Immaculate scripting and casting is a vital element of cinema that cannot be shown in just a book. But let's say we throw the script out the window. What do we have left? The story of a screenwriter pursuing love, if you can really even call it that. The plot itself is so ambiguous at times it doesn't even feel like you're watching a film. Thomas Flight said it best in his video, which I'll link up above, but I want to paraphrase it. It's a film that feels like it's comprised exclusively of transitional shots, those moments in between, to make something that focuses less on plot and more on simply existing.
Whispering. Beckoning.
Do you have that?
Each man. Each woman. A guide.
I was wanting to be like you.
A god.
It really did feel like I was watching a documentary. It's so incredibly real, and yet it feels so foreign. It relies on its unconventional narrative that feels like a poem. As I said earlier, at surface level, I saw the film as a screenwriter pursuing love, but you may see it as a film as an unfaithful man looking for a way out of his unfulfilling life, or something even deeper and more abstract. Two roads diverge in a broken wood, and I took the one less traveled. Robert Frost. This quote is seriously misinterpreted to, I took the road less traveled and somehow that made my life better. We see this quote on throw pillows and Hallmark cards, but where in those two sentences does it say that it made the character's life better? The words that follow are, and that has made all the difference. But what is the difference? Better or worse? It's in that misinterpretation that gives people hope, which is the intention of art, to feel something, anything, like the can of soup, which in part makes Knight of Cups so brilliant. Telling a story that is individual to every single viewer, through images and improvised dialogue to feel something. Not necessarily hopeful or sad, just something. And if we look at cinema as art, then this is also cinema. I want to end this with a quote by Greta Gerwig. In a roundtable discussion with Scorsese himself, she was asked, what is cinema?
I mean, I know it when I see it. I say that. I mean, I know it when I see it. I know when you sit in a movie theater, and I've had the privilege of being on a film festival jury, which is in some ways the really pure way to watch movies, because you have nothing. You have no context for what the thing it is you're seeing, and you don't miss it. From the first shot, you know when there's an author there, and you know when it's personal, and you can feel it. You can feel it come through every moment, every shot, and the actors and every piece of it, and it just doesn't miss you.
See, cinema is about being subjectively dazzled. Back in the 1890s, when film was just starting to get off the ground, they invented the kinetoscope. which were simply personal projectors. You inserted a nickel and boom, you were looking at a woman dancing or a man riding a roller coaster. And as time went on, audiences were dazzled by different things. A great train robbery, a trip to the moon, a man singing and dancing in the rain, a lone taxi driver exonerating the city of scum and villainy, a politician fighting for gay rights, a playboy billionaire finding his heart, or a young girl simply making her way through life. The face of evil for this generation is a big purple alien, but the face of evil for my generation is a robot in jet black armor. Commercial acclaim shouldn't sway your opinion when honestly we should just be glad that people are simply going back to the cinemas after all this time. Because cinema is synonymous with art, and art is synonymous with your personal experience. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to give this video a like, a subscribe, and also ring that notification bell to know when the next video goes live. This video was made possible by the awesome people at Patreon, who get exclusive access to behind-the-scenes features and also early access to these videos. I would also like to thank the film club that we started over in our Discord server, where we watch films every 2 weeks and we follow it up with some awesome discussion. They were a big part in making this particular video. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye guys.